What's up, everybody? This is Coach C, and welcome to another episode of the Producer's Kitchen, where it doesn't matter what you do, just as long as you put greatness in the mix. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Now, listen, today we have a very special guest. Well, first of all, we always say we have a very special guest, but everyone is special, and I'm excited about today. I'm excited to be here and have this conversation. Listen, hip hop is definitely in the building today. Ladies and gentlemen, my man, your man, our man, Ill Tack is in the building. What's up with it, brother?
Yo, what's going on? What's going on?
Good stuff, man. How you doing?
Doing well.
That's good, man. That's really good, brother. I really appreciate you coming out, man, and just blessing us with your time today, man.
Man, this is an awesome experience. I appreciate y'all.
No, absolutely, man. We'll Tack. We're gonna just kind of like, I know you kind of just a dive in it kind of guy, bro. So we just gonna get into it, man.
All
You
right.
know, so can you? I want to know, and I want people that's watching. I want them to kind of get an understanding of your background, things that you do, what you're capable of, all of the things like that. But let's go back to the beginning. Can you tell us what inspires you to just begin to just pick up the pen and start writing rhymes?
I mean, in terms of um that side of the creativity, because I also do like to paint and create art as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the first time that I can really even think of like me putting a rhyme together was like in fifth grade.
Oh wow.
And I think I wrote a love poem, and
Well, okay,
I
here
don't
we
even know if
go.
I don't even know if I was in love. You know what I'm saying? Like, might have had a little crush. I don't even know what I was doing, but
Right.
I feel like I attribute that to that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really started writing rhymes probably like in like ninth grade,
Mm-hmm.
and by that point, I think early like hip hop or rap music that was on the radar that was kind of like, oh, this is different. This is cool.
Right.
Was like MC Hammer, Can't Touch This,
Right.
Vanilla Ice, Ice Ice Baby.
Right.
There was a few radio hits, but like I still really wasn't even into music yet. I didn't hit
Mhm.
that stride yet. So I was probably in like fifth grade around that time,
Yeah.
and it just at least like came on the radar in a way where I was listening to mom's records at the house,
Mm.
Michael Jackson, Three Dog Night, Billy Joel, Elton John, stuff like that my
Yes,
mom
sir.
had. But then like I really didn't even start like falling in love with hip hop until probably like seventh or eighth grade.
Mm.
And then it was like a wrap. Like I
Right.
I was getting tapes from like BMG and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
So it was like a lot of alternative or like classic rock kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
Aerosmith. And I was getting all that stuff, but then like the two albums that like it was really like it was a wrap from there on. It was like Tribe Called Quest, Midnight Marauders,
Okay. Okay.
Beastie Boys, Ill Communication.
Mm.
And so even like me being like Ill Tack, it's
Yeah.
like, yo, like Beastie Boys were like Ill Communication, License to Ill.
License. Yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, yo, Ill got to be somewhere in there.
Right.
It's
Right.
got to be in
Right.
there somehow. So though, like that music started influencing me in a way, and especially lyrics.
Uh-huh.
Like it's weird for me to talk to certain people and they're like, oh, I don't really listen to the lyrics. Like what?
Right.
You
Right.
don't want to know what somebody else is
Just
talking
listen
about?
to the beat.
Yeah.
Right.
Um. So yeah, like I think lyrics and especially with like Tribe and Beastie Boys, they had such a great sense of humor,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that I always try to put into my music.
Right.
Like even if it's like a more depressing song or it's not
Mm-hmm.
the most happy song, like I want to like make somebody laugh.
Right.
So that definitely like influenced the pen a lot for sure.
Nice. Now you said something else, and it's a great segue because you're just like this big ball of like gifts, right? So you just creative, right? Because it's like you have that basketball player that wants to play football, right? You have that artist that wants to draw, but like you are an artist, you're an MC, but you like really can create like in terms of paintings and like you are like super dope, right? And so tell us a little bit about that in terms of your early experience and when did you decide to like draw and like how did that come about?
Um, I mean, I want to say um most younger kids probably get introduced to art in some sort of way,
Mhm.
that's like a part of their public education.
Right.
You got art class, you got all
Mhm.
this stuff. Um, I'm probably gonna botch this quote, but Picasso basically said at one point, like, if you ask any child if they're an artist, they'll be like, yeah,
Right.
but then once you get older, you like grow out of having that creativity and openness about the
Mhm.
world, and maybe your imagination kind of fades away at some
Right.
point.
Right.
So I was always kind of doing, some sort of art just based off of like what school was having
Mhm.
me involved with.
Right.
And then that was one of my favorite, classes that I would take like once I got to like high school
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
middle school or whatever. And then at some point, when I was supposed to be paying attention in class, I'm
Always.
doodling. I mean, I put together probably some of the greatest stuff that I just did from my imagination
Mm.
when I was in high school.
Nice.
And unfortunately, I don't draw as much from the imagination
Mhm.
anymore. Um, if I'm working with a client on a commission or a mural or something like that, it does maybe make me need to dig into the imagination
Right.
or fall back on that. But now a lot of the times I'm looking at images
Mm.
to be able to reference and create what I need to create.
Right.
So I kind of miss like drawing from the imagination
Mhm.
like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, just I think in high school, as much as I loved art class and all that, like I kind of thought that would be my career is
Mhm.
pursuing traditional art or like a comic book artist or something like
Right. For
that.
sure.
Um, and then of course, with the advent of technology, graphic design, all that stuff,
Mhm.
at some point I was like, I just probably need to go into graphic design.
Right.
Hated it. Left that school opportunity, didn't finish it out.
Yeah.
But then that like got me into doing graffiti at some point,
Mhm.
which really taught me more about painting, going big with stuff.
Right.
So there was a lot that I learned from that experience as well.
No, that's really dope, man. And so you have this piece behind us, right? While we're talking about art, I'm gonna get back to the hip hop and the MCing in a minute,
Word.
but you have this piece behind us, right? Can I don't know if they can see it or not, but can you tell us about that piece that's sitting behind you?
So just kind of like I was hitting on earlier of like, looking at an image to create something.
Mm-hmm.
At some point I became more interested in like how well can I recreate this image that's already there.
Dope, dope.
But then like, sometimes it's just about the dopeness of the image, but then also it's like, well, what is there a story behind this image or
Hmm.
something else that makes me want to gravitate to recreating it?
Right.
So I ran across maybe through like a YouTube video or however I found it. There's like a whole subculture in the Congo
Mm.
um, of high fashion. And it was basically adopted from like the French presence in the Congo.
Okay.
And so all these guys that are like dappered up in the middle of the jungle,
Yeah.
they're called Les Sapeurs.
Okay.
I might not be saying that correct.
Right.
Pardon me, my French. I don't know. You know what I'm
So I
saying?
can't say it at all.
Right.
So we good.
But it's crazy because like these guys in the middle of the jungle, and a lot of the times they're spending all their money just to look fly.
Right.
But then it's like they're maybe not advancing their station in life,
Mm.
because they're spending all their money on fashion. So everything else about their situation is kind of messed up.
Right.
And we have those parallels in the States too. Got the
Absolutely.
Mercedes, live in a trailer,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
But this particular guy, his name is Maxime Pivot,
Hmm.
and him and possibly another guy, but at least him started like teaching classes or putting a program together where it's
Hmm.
like, hey, here's how you get fly, and you don't have to spend all your money.
Right.
And
Dope.
and I was
Dope.
like, oh
Dope.
man, this is dope.
Yeah.
And so I ended up uh doing his image just on like a sketchbook paper or
Hmm.
whatever. And then at some point I was like, oh man, I want to like jazz it up some. So I cut out his image and put it on a background that I got just like of paper that was already had designs on it.
Yeah.
And it kind of opened me up to like doing collage stuff. Like,
Mm.
yo, let me start cutting stuff up. And
Right.
so like this is pretty bare bones in terms of collage. But
Uh,
after I did this particular piece and a few others, I've done works that are straight collage, or I've done ones that are a combination of again like drawing something on sketch paper and then I
mhm.
cut it out and make other elements of the work, work with some element of collage.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it's just like you experiment with different stuff and then it leads you to a whole new place that's exciting
Yeah.
creatively and yeah.
Man, but that's some amazing work though, brother.
Thank you.
That is super dope. You also I have to do this, right? So there's this piece that you have in Soul Jukebox's studio that I really want. So I Jukebox Soul Jukebox, Laren,
Laren, watch out.
if you're watching this, I you know this, I want that piece. But yeah, but that's super dope, man. I really like that piece. Going back into getting back into to the hip hop. Can you tell me about the first time you had to perform or your first cipher?
Um, I don't really think that I got a chance to perform anywhere
Hmm.
until maybe like after high school.
Okay.
But like, I mean, I started writing rhymes in like ninth grade,
Yeah.
and it just I was spending almost as much time writing rhymes in class that I
Hmm.
was drawing when I shouldn't. Basically, I wasn't paying a lot of attention in
Right.
class.
Right. Right.
But like it was so intriguing to keep wanting to write rhymes
Right.
and get these bars out and elevate that craft to where like I would find other buddies that or other people that also were interested in doing music,
Hmm.
and I would just go seek them out to go hang out with them wherever
Right.
that may be in town, and I would kind of like cipher with them.
Hmm.
So I would have bits and pieces of stuff that I'd written, maybe that I was rehashing, or a lot of times I wouldn't memorize my stuff.
Right.
So
Right.
then it
Right.
was like I'm just freestyling,
Yeah.
and I think that was huge for me because you kind of learn to develop your own style
Hmm.
when you're freestyling a lot. Whereas nowadays it's almost like cookie cutter copy and paste. This is what the industry sound is. You're
Right.
so used to hearing that all the
Uh
time.
huh.
Your style is going to be influenced by somebody else regardless
Right.
if you're not actively trying to cultivate that.
Hmm.
So it was a lot of freestyling with friends, you
Hmm.
know, impromptu ciphers with friends or other people, probably for like the first 4 years or so that I was writing rhymes,
Yeah.
and then maybe I did a performance or something,
Yeah.
um, after high school. But then I couldn't even necessarily say where those or that might have been.
Right.
But I moved to Raleigh in 2001,
Okay.
and then I want to say in 2004 I started attending like a weekly open mic,
Okay. Dope.
and they would do
Dope.
battles. So I'd
Okay.
like battle every Sunday,
Yeah.
and then I really probably didn't even perform a song there till after going there for like a year. So
Sharpening them skills.
yeah, man.
Yeah. No, that's dope, man. That's super dope. Really dope. How long were you in Raleigh?
I lived in Raleigh for 13 years.
Oh, really?
Yep.
How did you like the hip hop scene there versus the hip hop scene here?
Um, I'm I give Raleigh preferential treatment because I kind of like got my chops up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really even participating in a music scene there
Hmm.
because I'm from Fayetteville originally.
Okay. Dope.
So when I was writing the rhymes at high school and kind of ciphering with buddies and stuff like
Hmm.
that, I mean, Fayetteville doesn't really have much of a music scene, I would say. Like even now,
Right.
I've got a buddy that still lives there and he produces and stuff, and
Hmm.
it's not like a bigger city.
Right.
And then Fayetteville just has its own dynamic to
Hmm.
where like, you know, maybe not as conducive to having a great music scene per se.
Right.
But Raleigh was super interesting because of the dynamic of NC State.
Hmm.
And I lived around state for a long time. That's even where like the battles and stuff
Yeah.
were at.
Yeah. Dope.
So I wasn't even living on that side of town at the time, but then I moved to closer to state and was over that way for like 6, 7, 8 years.
Hmm.
And one of the biggest things that I can say about Raleigh that really impressed me and kind of just denotes the fact that there is a music scene there is there was a weekly cipher that got started up.
Mm.
Um I should know this, but
That's all good.
the start date of the cipher, whatever. But it's been running consistently every Monday night for over a decade.
Wow.
You can go out there on a Monday night, in the cold, in the rain, whatever, there might be 5 cats out there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
somebody's out there freestyling.
Man.
And then with that just having the traction that it did,
Mhm.
there were certain members of that cipher that was like, "Yo, let's get this popping at different universities," and so that kind of branched out to where like there was one at App State, there was
Nice.
one on at UNCG,
Mhm.
there was one in Chapel Hill,
Dope.
and then they were trying to get one going at UNCC.
Mhm.
So around the time that I moved to Charlotte in 2013, that was kind of going, and then I started popping out to UNCC.
Yeah.
So that kind of like gave me an in with the music scene in Charlotte. And I
Yeah.
bet a bunch of cats that did music, producers, MCs and stuff that were coming out to that UNCC cipher,
Right.
which popped for about the first year or so.
Uh-huh.
But then like I knew a guy that had went to UNCC, and he
Mhm.
was like, "Hey, it's not the same fertile soil
Hmm.
as a NC State." And I
Right.
kind of saw that.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
way that the school is set up, it's different.
Right,
They've
right.
got a different student body that
Yeah,
goes
for
there.
sure.
So yeah, man, I love what Raleigh has to offer in terms of the community
Mhm.
and the presence there of the music scene.
Yeah.
I really haven't even tapped into the music scene in Charlotte like that because outside of the cipher in the first couple of years, me living here, I just been working,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I
and
feel
I'm
you.
older too, so
Yeah.
I'm like, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But you're still doing your thing though. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's dope because you've been very, very consistent. You know, one of the dope things that I like about you and that I come to find out is that you were in a band, right? And was the balance,
yep,
right? So what was the because I think like artists who perform with a band is like the dopest thing,
it's next
right?
level.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Y'all, it really is. Pay attention, right? But what was the vision behind that?
I worked with a guy that played bass,
Hmm.
and he also had told me that he produced beats. And so then it was kind of, hey, I wonder what kind of beats he's got and stuff. And really, I never even heard any of his beats, I want to say.
Right.
But he definitely was big on, playing bass.
Hmm.
And we would get off of work and have a drink and just talk
Yeah.
about music and maybe putting something together.
Hmm.
And a buddy of mine from high school had moved to Raleigh that like we basically started writing rhymes together.
Hmm.
So between me and him, the bassist, and then the bassist had a drummer friend, like we basically just had like a 4-piece band to
Fire.
start out with.
Hmm.
And we practiced for like a straight year before we ever did a gig.
Hmm.
And we almost had to get like bribed to go play our first gig. It was kind of like, oh, we're not ready.
Right.
And
Right.
and then we stayed together
Hmm.
for 8 years.
Nice.
And every year we made progress in just like our sound, our members would kind of come and go, but I
Hmm.
think at the end of it we had a 9-piece band. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the energy was ridiculous.
I can imagine.
But I mean, really, like being up on your business is so important as an artist,
Yeah.
and that was something that we didn't have together.
Right. Right.
And so ultimately, we, no pun intended, disbanded,
Right. Yeah. For
and
sure.
that was really part of the impetus for me even wanting to leave Raleigh because
Yeah.
I stayed in Raleigh for so long. Like, yo, we got something here.
Right.
We're building this, and then when that kind of fell apart, it was like I don't need to stay here.
Right. What am I here
Yeah.
for now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's super dope, man. Do you like performing in a band better, or are you just kind of like being, by yourself and just doing your thing?
Uh, Interestingly enough, I mean, I didn't even really get to the point where I felt comfortable as a songwriter
Hmm.
until really kind of the end of the run with the band.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was recording solo projects,
Hmm.
but even then, like the drive to want to perform solo stuff was not as strong as it
Right.
was with the band. Like I'm getting up on stage and testing out songs that are still me kind of in a formative phase.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these don't hit as hard. I'm not
Right.
connecting with the audience as
Mhm.
much. Or like I really hadn't even figured out how to properly do ad libs
Mhm.
or formulate a song to catch breaths,
Right, right, right.
performing solo and stuff. So
Yeah.
um I I'll be honest, like as much as I think my sound has progressed,
Yeah.
I really haven't performed as much as I would like to as a solo artist.
Right.
And that's something that I need to develop even more.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
Why do you think it's because I think you're I mean, I know you say humbly you're like you need to develop and all of these things, right? But when I hear and when I see you and all of these things, like in my opinion, I'm like, yeah, you ready, you know what I'm saying? But like, why do you feel like you need to like is there do you think there's a lot of opportunity to perform? You think that's part of it? Like it's just not a lot of opportunities or
Um, there are definitely opportunities out there.
Mhm.
Um, I like I probably should, be looking into maybe even doing open mics and stuff just to
Right.
maybe test out certain stuff or get more comfortable performing like solo stuff.
Yeah.
But as long as I've been sort of performing and doing stuff, um, just having that element of the live band be a part of a performance,
Yeah.
it's like I don't really just want to get up on stage
I
with a
feel you.
mic and some speakers. Like, yo, let's like, can I get a DJ?
Right, right,
Can I add some props? Can
right.
I bring some people out on stage? Can I do something that's going to make this performance more memorable or
Mhm.
connect with the audience in a certain way? Um, so, I mean, there's a lot of different reasons that maybe I have that stance on performing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I think those are good stances, though. I think those make a lot of sense because people are so quick to just, and I get it. Like, you got to get out there and you got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I understand all that, but to want to give something more to your audience, like that's super dope. You know, so I mean, respect on that. Like, that's really really dope. You know, um, and in this ever changing music world and space that we're in today, right? Like, how do you remain? I know you spoke earlier about the cookie cutter and all of that stuff. Like, how do you remain true to yourself and what you do and who you want to be? I can go back I can go down the rabbit hole and listen to your stuff, and that's the thing that I know I can say is that you have always remained who you are, and for me, like, I believe who you want to be. How does that like, how does that play? Like, how do you do that?
um,
How do you not jump on the TikTok trends and, you know, the 1 minute songs and the I mean, how does it work?
um, I mean, I'm pretty resistant to change as it is.
Good for you. Good for you.
um, I mean, uh, I'm not a very tech savvy person.
Mhm.
Um, all of the different, rollouts of the different iterations of social
Right.
media, I've always been like a late adopter of it.
Uh-huh.
Like I didn't sign up for a Facebook until 2010. Our band was like, "Oh man, we need to get a MySpace" in like
Oh,
2008, like right at the
wow.
tail end of it, but none of us really knew how to use it, and it was just
Yeah.
kind of like a joke at that point.
Yeah.
So it's like there's been these things that I'm like, "Oh, I need to do this, or if I do this, then that'll help me kind of like market myself better, promote myself better."
Mhm.
Um, so like the only reason that I got Facebook was to market my art, market my
Right.
music.
Right.
Same with Twitter, Instagram. And then I just find myself going through the motions of like, oh, I just check Twitter every day. And then I don't even really like the experience of being on there.
Right.
Like, I didn't grow up with the internet.
Right.
You,
Right.
you know,
Facts.
like
Yeah.
I'm used to like, getting up with my friends in person.
Mhm.
We laugh, we make jokes, we have conversations like when I was younger, I didn't understand how my parents could just get up with friends and talk for hours.
Right.
And
Right.
now I'm like, yo, I just want to get up with people and talk for hours.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I listen to podcasts that are hours long.
Right.
Like, so I like deep discussions. I like to think about things, and
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't think that a lot of social media really promotes that.
No.
Everything's short clips.
Mm-hmm.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Keep scrolling.
Right.
I don't really like that.
Yeah, no. That
Um,
helps then, right?
yeah,
That helps. So you won Rookie of the Year.
for with Carolina Premier Battle League.
Okay.
Um, and it's funny, man, because I I used to battle like I was telling you about that spot in Raleigh,
Mm-hmm.
and that older battle format in the '90s was kind of like, they dropped the Mob Deep Shook Ones beat.
Right, right,
you know,
right,
you rhyme over that, and you're mainly freestyling. Maybe you have a couple lines or
right.
whatever. Um, and I did that. I did a year of that or whatever.
Yeah.
And then at some point, I was just like, I'm done with battling or whatever. Like, it was more about making the music.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was going to the cipher at UNCC,
Right.
um, J Legs came out. Shout out to J Legs. Or actually, Legs might not even came out of the cipher. It was Charles and Gene
Mm.
Outlaw that came to the cipher, and they were kind of recruiting. But like Legs was running the battle league; those were his partners in the league.
Right.
And Charles and Gene were like, "Yo, come out. We're doing like a gauntlet. Where basically like you do like a one rounder against an opponent.
Mm-hmm.
If you make it to the gauntlet, eventually we'll start putting you on some cards."
Right.
And I was like, "All right, I guess I'll come out or
Yeah.
whatever."
Yeah.
And then the newer format of the battle rap is just it's all acapella,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I really really like acapella.
Nice. That's dope.
I in terms of like me being like, oh, as a solo artist, I don't go out and perform as much as I would like to.
Right.
Uh, Let me go a cappella,
Yeah.
super comfortable
Right. Right.
because I don't have to rely on an engineer. I don't have to
Right.
rely on a anybody to run sound for me.
Right.
No technical difficulties really involved. Just let me go up there. I'm gonna eat, or I'm
Right.
gonna do
Right.
whatever I need to do.
Right.
Um, so yeah, man, I started getting on cards with Carolina Premier, and then the whole Cipher network, basically, out of Raleigh,
Mm-hmm.
is so strong, man, that there was just cats that were from out of town that ended up maybe going to NC State, and they
Right.
started getting more active and doing more stuff. So like SK the Novelist started up the Asheville, the AVL Battle League,
Nice.
and I was taking cards with AVL too. So within that first year that I really started getting back into doing the battles between, I guess, the Carolina Premier, the AVL stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like, hey, Rookie of the Year, boom. I ended up getting that.
Yeah. Dope.
And then, I ran with doing the battles for maybe like another 6 months or so,
Mm-hmm.
but opponents wouldn't show up. Um, for the most part, it's like, I mean, I'm definitely probably one of the older cats doing it,
Right.
and I already got anger issues. It's like, do I really need to just be an
Right.
angry rapper at my age?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not making money off of the cards and stuff like
Right.
that. So I was just
Yeah.
like, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah.
I got some great footage out there.
Hey, content's king nowadays, right?
Yeah, man.
No, that's super dope. So the thing is most people say most battle rappers can't make good songs.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But you make some dope records.
Thank you.
Do you find, or did you find that transition hard to go from battle rap and then like actually create a song? Is that hard, or was it hard for you?
I think just in general, it just really took me a long time to um develop those songwriting chops.
Yeah.
Um, like in the case of doing stuff with the band,
Hmm.
you can't just say to the guys like, "Hey, can you play that loop back again?"
Right,
You
right,
know, or
right,
like, for me, my writing process is like, let me be alone in my car for a couple of hours,
right,
and then I'm in the studio or in the band practice spot with 9 members, and it's,
right,
it's basically like a party every time we get up.
right,
You know what I'm
right.
saying? We're drinking and we're having fun
Yeah.
as well as creating, which is an important part of the process. Um, and then I just really wasn't able to develop the songwriting as much until kind of towards the end of that.
Hmm.
And then I started listening to beats and being like, oh, there's a part at the end with a bridge.
Mhm.
So I need to do something different for
Nice.
that part.
Mhm.
Um and even now, I think that the way that I write songs,
Right.
like I don't like the cookie cutter structure of hook, chord,
Right,
verse,
right,
like so.
right.
Like I'll do different stuff and kind
Uh-huh.
of play with the structure of what a song maybe even should be,
Mhm.
and that's fun too. But it took me a long time, and I guess I never like pigeonholed myself as a battle rapper either.
Oh, right, facts. Facts. That's dope.
So just the different, I guess, aspects of performing or ciphering or all those different things kind of added up to maybe help me with songwriting in general.
That's dope. That's real dope, man. Now you've done some. I mean, I think everything that you've done and do is dope, but you've done some dope things in terms of Red Bull. What was the Sound Clash? You opened up for some really dope people. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So, trying to think of when the Sound Clash was. That might have been like 2004, 2005.
Mm,
And I was dating a girl in Greensboro at the time, and she was like, "Yo, this is going on. You should like participate in it."
yeah.
And then there was 3 rounds of it,
Uh huh.
and so I wrote or had 3 acapella pieces. Um, but even then, I don't think I was really super up on what the angle of that particular performance was.
Right.
So like it was held in the historical Woolworth building in Greensboro,
Okay.
which has a
That's
lot
fire.
of energetically charged history
Yeah.
to it.
Yeah.
And the guy that was hosting or throwing that Red Bull Word Clash,
Mm,
he wanted people to have pieces prepared that were like revolutionary in
okay.
a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember there was somebody that went up before me and his piece was about like love. And
Okay.
it was a great piece.
Yeah.
But the guy was like, "Hey, that's not what we're here for. Like, I don't want to
Straight
see any
like
more."
that.
Yeah. And I was like, I am not ready for like my first piece was solid
Yeah.
and maybe kind of fit within some of those qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
But my second two pieces were not, my second and third piece were not,
Right.
you know, like my man might have got up there after my second one and been like, you didn't.
Right.
So, I was kind of nervous about
Yeah, for
what would
sure.
happen if I made it past the first round.
Mhm.
But then I got up there and there was like a portion of that poem that like dealt with suicidal ideation.
Mm.
And again, I was like, is this even proper for this venue or for what I'm
Right.
supposed to be doing here?
Right.
And when I finished on the mic, I was like walking back into the crowd to go sit down.
Mhm.
And this lady like grabbed my hand and she was
Mm.
like, "Thank you for that." And I
Nice.
was like, yo, I was supposed to do that piece.
Right.
Even if I didn't
Right.
make it to the second or third round, like I'm
Right.
glad I got that out.
That's dope.
So that was something that really kind of was like, man, keep going. Like people
Yeah.
people need, you know, this people need this, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, they need you. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we could keep it real. Like they need you and that gift, man, which is really really dope. Now, before we get out of here, I wanna ask you about your latest song that you just dropped, the one with the animation to it,
Okay.
which is really really dope.
Thank you, man.
Right? Super, super dope. And the fact that you have the animation to it, and the animation, I assume one of those characters is you in
Yeah.
the animation, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Super dope. Like, tell us about that record and why you chose the animation. Like, what's that whole thing about?
So, the name of the track is called Houdini Miss,
Hmm.
and it's basically about somebody that I've been talking to for a while, on and off, that was very special to me, and basically, long story short, I got ghosted.
Okay,
You know what I'm
okay.
saying? So Houdini Miss is about somebody that's in your life that disappears,
Mm,
and even with that song, man, like I tried to add, some humor in it and there's
yeah,
some
yeah.
innuendo in it.
Hmm.
And I released another song before that that was maybe even a little more personal, maybe a little more depressing.
Right.
And I didn't really promote that one,
Okay.
but the Houdini Miss like had somewhat of like a commercial almost appeal to it, even though it's dealing with a topic that's maybe not the most fun,
Right.
especially if you've ever been through that, like getting ghosted or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, man, I really want to promote this one. And from people that have heard the song, one of the big takeaways is it's a great concept song.
Right. Right.
Um, so I really, built on that concept, and I wanted to have something additional to promote
Mm-hmm.
the song.
Yeah.
And just as an artist, I could do all my album artwork myself,
Yeah.
but
Duh. Right.
it's fun to pass it to other creatives and
Absolutely.
see how they execute the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've really enjoyed passing certain projects to other creatives.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what can you do with this? Or this is my idea.
Yeah.
And so that a lot of my projects have been very Vapa heavy. We are in the Vapa Center right now in Uptown
we
Charlotte.
are. Right. Shout out to
Um,
Vafa. Appreciate Arthur,
yes,
Joanne. Love.
yes, for sure. A real mecca for creatives right in the middle of
Absolutely.
Uptown.
We run New York.
Yeah, man. So like I've just been passing, little projects to people in the building with certain releases. So
Yeah.
Ken Knutson.
Yeah.
Ken,
Yeah.
I'm murdering your name. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, we went over this the
Mr.
other day.
Tasty Beverage, my guy.
But yeah, he marked the cover for me.
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
did the last single for me too.
Fire.
So he really helped kind of deliver on the vision that I had for the cover.
Mm-hmm.
And then with, a lot of my new releases coming up, I would love to have more content, more videos,
Absolutely.
more visual elements
Mhm.
of the song. And so I really had just intended to do like a 30-second animation.
Right.
And I was like, let me hop on Fiverr and see if I can find somebody that can help me
Yeah.
bring this to life.
Yeah.
And then like I couldn't even get the straight 30-second clip just because of how the song was.
Right.
If I clipped it here, it'd be weird.
Right.
So I think the whole animation is like 51 seconds.
Nice.
And dropped a little more on it than I thought. But
right.
I mean, like
right.
I want to have quality
Mm-hmm.
things coupled with my releases.
Yeah. No,
And
absolutely.
yeah. So that
It's super dope, man, to and go that far, to invest in yourself, to invest in others, to invest in other creatives around you. Like that's super dope. I always tell people that our dollars as creatives, I used to say culture, right? Of course our dollars as the culture don't circulate right, but our dollars as creatives don't circulate right either. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like if you're gonna go do a show, why don't I just pay to come see you perform? Right? That benefits you and what you're doing versus, bro, let me just kind of come in and let me rock with you.
right.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like, I mean, I get it, we cool and all of that, but anyway, I ain't gonna get on that horse. But
that's huge.
but you know what I'm saying? But so big ups to you, and that's really dope for even thinking in that way, because yeah, you probably could get whatever you want for free for the most part. You know what I'm saying? Do you? And I'm gonna ask this question to every MC or artist or anyone that does music, because I heard this and I continue to hear it. They say people are not buying music anymore.
Mm.
How do you feel about that, or do you believe that?
I guess my mindset kind of shifted a little bit. I think this has kind of come more into vogue in the past couple of years
Mm-hmm.
in artists trying to still pursue a music career or whatever.
Right.
Where it's like, man, if you get 1,000 true fans or whatever,
Right.
you can basically make a living for yourself. And the definition of that with a true fan is, they're basically going to spend $100 a year on your stuff to support you.
Right.
And I mean, that's, a hoodie, an album.
Yeah.
They come to see you live once or twice.
Right.
Somewhere in and around there.
Absolutely.
And then, other people like, oh, you get, more true fans, but then the bar is lower for them to spend with you or whatever.
Right.
And I think for the artists and musicians that are really serious about pursuing this as a career,
Mhm.
Some of the streaming practices and stuff like that, man, it's just like unacceptable, man. It's
Yeah.
disrespectful.
That's a whole rabbit hole by itself.
Yeah. So there are alternative platforms where you can kind of build out,
Mhm.
however you choose to approach
Right.
that, a Bandcamp or
Mhm.
just running stuff to your site
Right.
and stuff. So I mean, I'm hopeful for the future that creatives can kind of band together and maybe figure out ways where we can work together to
Mm-hmm.
to do stuff. Um, we've also got the rise of AI that's further cheapening.
Right.
Um,
Right.
why pay me to do a commission art piece for you if you can just hop in AI or whatever?
Right.
Or like, why even pay for the streaming service if you can get on and create a Drake and Biggie song? Like, who would want to hear
Bro.
that? But
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Another rabbit hole, right?
um, but yeah, so like I've heard certain people say that, as the proliferation of AI continues to increase,
Hmm.
that there will be certain people that will like yearn for like real
Yeah.
content
Yeah.
created by real people.
Right.
And so if you are one of the, last hangers on still doing that,
Right.
that says something for you as somebody that can actually make or create something on your own,
Hmm.
and are looking for, support
Right.
in that regard. So like I said, man, I'm hopeful trying to
No,
navigate through it.
absolutely. We all are. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's going to be very important for us to have a balance and really get a real understanding of support and how do we help each other continue to do what we say it is. We want to do as a career. You know what I'm saying? Tack, you've been a blessing today, my brother.
Thank you, man.
Please tell everyone where they can go and go down a rabbit hole and listen to all of your stuff on all of the platforms.
So Instagram at IllTacMC, ILLTACMC. That's pretty much my main social media platform that I got rocking right now.
Nice.
I just put Houdini Miss as the first piece of music that is on Bandcamp.
Nice.
I have an older like Ill Tactics page that I hadn't dealt with in a long time. So
Right.
if you go to illtac.bandcamp.com, I'll probably be doing some releases that are exclusively Bandcamp.
Yeah.
But then in addition to having stuff that's already on all the DSPs, if you want to go to my Bandcamp and directly support me, you can download a single for $1, whatever it is.
Right,
You
right.
can, drop more if you want to support.
Yeah.
Got a
Tell
lot.
them that again, because they used to go on the title and tell them
Right.
how to go purchase the
So
record.
if you go to illtac.bandcamp.com, the same song that's on the streaming services that you can stream for next to nothing, you can go and download it and drop $1 on me, or you say, hey man, this is dope. I want to see you, continue to release stuff. You can donate as much as you, or put up as much as you want
Right.
for whatever value that you get out of it, or seeing me or your favorite artist,
Mhm.
continue to move forward. Studio time isn't cheap.
Right.
All the other things that go into creating and releasing stuff, those animations, videos, all that
Mhm.
stuff, racks up. And I mean, I've got a year and a half worth of music that I'm ready to release,
Nice.
or close to being ready to release.
That's
And I
dope.
want to get on a regular schedule of dropping stuff.
Mhm.
So if you want to go support, that's one of the places that you can. And a lot of good stuff coming. So
No, absolutely, man. I'm gonna go support too. I'm not gonna be up here talking about our dollars don't circulate right and not be a part of the circulation, right? Right.
what's up.
Thank you all for joining us on the Producers Podcast. My man Ill Tac was in the building today. I'm Coach C. This is the Producer's Kitchen. And listen, no matter what you do, always make sure you put greatness in the mix. We out.